Ag groups are applauding EPA's latest action to address diesel exhaust fluid system failures, with many calling it a timely step as spring planting gets underway. President and CEO of the Ag Retailers Association, Daren Coppock, joins us now with his perspective. So thank you so much for joining us, Daren. Let's first start kind of with the issue at hand. Talk about the disruptions DEF system malfunctions can have within farming.
So, when you're using your computer and it knows exactly when you have a critical task and that chooses that time to break down, that's the kind of experience some of our members have had with DEF systems, where in the middle of an operation, you're driving the truck somewhere and the system will derate, slow down, and essentially the driver loses complete control of the vehicle because of the engine's trying to shut down. So it's not only an inconvenience, it's a major safety issue for us, and we're really glad to see EPA tackling it.
And I mean, I grew up on a grain farm. I understand, a lot of our viewers understand, time is money, and you can't have your tractor or your sprayer stopping in the middle of planting season, of course. So obviously the EPA coming out with this new guidance, how is this latest action going to benefit farmers?
Well, it'll change the way that the detections are done, and I think lessen the cost of the equipment, for one thing, that needs to be on those trucks, but also will reduce the amount of derating events that happen, so that the driver will be able to maintain control of the vehicle all the time, rather than risk having the engine try to shut down on its own as if it's possessed or something.
Yeah, and I really liked the analogy of your computer restarting, where it's like right when you start to get going, and then of course that's when it would want to start to shut down. Of course, we're getting into planting season across the U.S. for a lot of our farmers. So I'm curious also your perspective on the timing of this. Talk about the importance of having this action in place as farmers prepare and are beginning to get into planting season.
So I'm not sure how much of the equipment's actually going to change between now and when the drills actually hit the ground, as we're really close to that. In some places, they're already running. But over the long term, as people are able to avoid this downtime, it's going to have a significant impact. And as you said, time is money at harvest and at seeding and at spraying time. You can't afford to be without your equipment when those critical tasks are going on.
And also, kind of speaking of planting season, before we wrap up, obviously there's a lot of concerns over input costs and availability, of course. So what are you hearing from the industry as farmers prepare to hit the field this spring?
Well, farmers are under as much pressure as I've ever seen. And I watched our family farm go down in the early 80s, so I know the kind of pressure that can put on people. And there's a whole lot of things that are impacting fertilizer prices. Our retailers are having to pay more for it to get it in the first place, for a number of reasons. And so I think it's going to be some really hard conversations and great opportunities to try to extract as much value as possible from what farmers and retailers are doing together.
A lot of pressures on our farmers, so I'm glad that we can talk about some good news with that EPA guidance coming out. So we really appreciate you joining us this morning, Daren, to break that down for us.
You bet. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, happy Easter. Ag Retailers Association President and CEO Daren Coppock.